This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Aurora, Colorado. We're at Tools of Hope. Since 2009, Anna Christina has been providing tools to restore and renew hope for individuals and audiences throughout Colorado. Thank you for joining us here today. Let me ask you first of all, why don't you share with the audience, how does someone, a professional like yourself, involved in construction, get involved in the business of helping people?
I went from building homes to building people. People always came and talked to me, even in construction. I just decided I needed to do something different. I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I needed to do something different.
Obviously, tools were a big necessity to get the job done well. How does that mentality spill over into this new profession? How important are the tools that you're providing for folks?
I think they're really important because when you're going through a really crushing time, when you've just been devastated by something or heartbroken, you don't have time to read a big, thick book. And the tools that I provide are very simple to get your head back on straight, to get your heart in the right place, to be able to make the next decision, to be able to make the next choice. And I have just some of the most amazing stories from people that have been in my workshops or read my book and said, oh my gosh, it really helped. It was simple and it really helped.
Let me ask you this. It seems that life is happening a little bit faster today than in years before. Why are the tools that you're providing more relevant and beneficial today, possibly than even 20 years ago?
Because when people are hurting, it's so easy to get anonymous on the internet. You're expecting an instant answer. And these tools aren't necessarily instant to fix the problem. However, they do provide a very quick boost in your energy, again, to make the decision that you need to make.
And we're talking about professional life as well as personal life?
Very much, very much. So in general, I teach big companies, small companies, management, police, EMS, victims assistance. The other niche is sales management and customer service. And what's interesting is those are all very professional careers. What I find is I go in on a business sense, and yet there are so many people struggling on their personal side of their life.
Right.
When we help people to manage their personal life better, your work goes better. When we help them to manage their work life better, the personal life tends to be at least a little bit easier. I help them with both parts to lift that up.
You can really sum up what you do basically in resilience training. I mean, really, this is something that it's more than a good attitude. Mm-hmm. It's more than being positive. Explain what that is for you.
It's giving real life tools. So for example, if I asked you, I said, Gary, tell me what you think of when I ask you these or tell you these words. So homicide, suicide, fratricide, spermicide, pesticide, genocide. What do you think when I ask you those words?
Something to do with side.
So what does side mean? To kill. All those words have to do with killing something. So then the question I ask you is, how about decide? It has to do with killing all the other options so that you can move forward and make a choice and move forward. You ask me, why is it so hard now?
Right.
A lot of it is because we have millions of options on the internet, millions of choices. We can shop all kinds of different places, and sometimes it's overwhelming. What we want to do is get to a focused point where we can decide and move forward. And it's usually on problems that we're having either at work or at home.
We're talking very practical approach you take. This is something that people can benefit with right away.
Right away. So say, for instance, another tool. I do a lot of communications training. Communication, what does that have to do with resilience? Well, if I reduce your stress level at work, even just by 5% by showing you a communication tool, right, does that help you, yes or no? Does 5% help, yes or no?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything helps.
It's just 5%, Gary.
Everything helps.
Right. And so, for instance, one of the tools that I love, and it's short and sweet, is if I was to introduce myself to you and say, hi, Gary, my name is Anna Christina, and I'm a motivational speaker. It sounds weak because I'm going up at the end of every sentence, and I'm not sure of myself. Now that you've heard this, every conversation you hear, you're going to notice in the store, at work, at home, when people speak like this, it's not confident. When you choose to finish neutral or down. Hi, Gary. My name is Anna Christina. I'm a motivational speaker and trainer. Just that one tool makes a big difference on how people come across at work or at home. You come across either like a victim or you come across confident and like an effective, efficient professional.
Obviously, these are tools that basically would help anyone across the board. You have really narrowed down your expertise in helping, like you said earlier, 3 different areas. The first one is first responders. Tell me once again, who is in that group and how does it help them?
What happens is you have these amazing people that work accident scenes, emergency situation, trauma. So EMS, SWAT, police, victims assistance. I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of victims assistance groups that work volunteer out of the police departments. Right. They show up when the worst has happened. They spend so much time helping everybody else that they sometimes forget about themselves, and it's hard to give themselves the energy back to take care of their personal lives and their professional lives.
Let's move on to the second group here, which is sales, management, customer service, something I'm a little more associated with. Tell me, what do you have for our group?
Well, as far as sales, management, and customer service, it's much the same thing. You're so busy focused on the customer, focused on the business, focused on the bottom line. We're doing more with less. You used to have 2 hats working in your job, now you have 5. And the pressure's on to save money, save time. In the meantime, you're working more hours, maybe making less money, spending less time with your family's falling apart, your marriage might not be doing well. Any one of those things creates extra stress. And so I teach them a lot of the same skills to be more confident in their management, in their sales, in their customer service. How do you communicate and help reduce the confrontation? How do you communicate, be more effective, be more efficient, be more comfortable, and have a little bit of fun at work?
Let's move on to last category, faith-based women. Obviously, women anymore, if anybody's wearing multiple hats, it's women taking care of children out in the workplace. What do you have for them?
Stories from my own experience that I can share, and I'm willing to be transparent. That's one of the biggest things that people say on my surveys is, Anna Christina, you're willing to be transparent and share some stories. And what happens when I do that is engages the person, whether it's 50 people or 500, it engages the person to say, hey, maybe she knows a little bit of what I'm going through.
Why don't you share with us the 2 books that you have here, and what are people going to find in those tools?
Well, what's great about Tools of Hope is my first book, and I was actually handing this to a SWAT police officer at one of my workshops, and he was winning the book because I always give books out at my workshops. And he said, I'm not a real big reader. And I said, that's okay, this isn't a real big book. And so when you look through it, it's built like a toolbox. It's not a big, thick book, and in fact, and I make a joke, there's some pages that only have 1 word on them. The second book, I hear the most amazing stories at the end of every workshop. Typically, people will come and talk to me, and they'll share things they're beautiful stories of something they're going through. That's why I know most of the people in the workshop, all of us are dealing with something, and in certain workshops, some of us are dealing with a lot. And I have authors who have never written anything before sharing their story in this book, and they were answering the question, if I only had one chance to tell you something, what would I tell you?
Right now, we're actually scrolling across the screen a lot of the actual names of some of the workshops. When we're speaking of workshops, we're talking about small groups, large groups, and what are they basically going to find in there?
We're talking about anywhere from 5 to 500 plus in the room. I do keynotes, I do commencement speeches, I do training sessions for sales teams, for instance, and they can go anywhere from a commencement, might be 10 to 13 minutes, all the way through 2 days. I can work a workshop with a group for 2 days, and we dig into these items, and we really help them leave with some good, solid tools.
Give us a quick taste. What's one of your favorite workshops out there that you love sharing?
The excuses box. It talks about how do you get out of the excuses box, and I give real-life, hardcore tools on how to step out of it. It's been very well received.
Thank you, Anna Christina, for joining us. Take a look, folks, at the bottom of your screen right there. What you're going to see is her website. You're also going to see her contact information there as well. Check out on the website, you're going to see some testimonials of basically people that have benefited from these tools. And obviously, the book is available on there as well. You can get on and order it right there. She also shares with you quite a few other resources. Take a look also at the workshops. You've got a schedule right there in front of you. Take a look if she's got a workshop coming up that you think you'd benefit from. If anything, just reach out to her. Email contact is right there as well. We are talking the Tools of Hope. Basically, resiliency training for the helping professional. This is Gary Atencio with CNTV, and if you don't know, now you know.